Well, it's a very warm welcome back to the Banks's Stadium, this time round for our first competitive home fixture in the league for the first time since March 2020. We welcome Rob Edwards and his Forest Green Rovers side, who are unbeaten in their first 2 games of this new campaign. They've won 1 in the league and that first round of the Carabao Cup. We'll be hearing from head coach Matt Taylor and striker Connor Wilkinson, as well as being joined by my colleague Paul Joannou, and we're going to talk through Tuesday's penalty heartache and today's upcoming fixture. First off, we're going to hear from Matt Taylor to see what he has to say about today's opponent. And on those match-like situations, we've got our first competitive home fixture in the league since March 2020. What are you expecting from Forest Green Rovers?
I think they're a team that are high on confidence. They've got 2 wins under their belt in the first 2 games of the season. I've been to see them live. They're a very competent football team. They've got a young coach who, like me, is beginning his journey in professional football. He's very knowledgeable. I like the way they try and play, but I think when you look at every opposition in this league, there's chances for us to capitalise on the way the opposition play, and that's what we've got to do. That's what we're working on with the players. But I will say the focus from my perspective is on us, because it has to be. The players are in good form. See that again today with the way they train, the quality that they bring, the effort, the desire. So I'm really excited for the game, but the players understand that there are no givens at any level of football. We've got to earn everything that we're going to achieve this season, and that starts with trying to put in a performance that's worthy of gaining 3 points at home to Forest Green, which, let's be honest, we'd all love, because we're hoping that the fans will come back. I'm sure they will do. It'd be great to have them. The atmosphere will be no doubt electric again, and the players are desperate to perform for them as well. So very much from a personal point of view, looking forward to the match on Saturday.
And it's still very, very early days in the season, so it does become a little bit difficult to gauge the opposition and what they're going to be like, even though you can base it off previous seasons.
It does, but modern technology now and your own eyes allow you the opportunity to go and see pretty much every team that you're going to come up against, and that's what we've done. We've got a group of staff that are focused on the opposition, as every coaching team up and down the country will have. But I do believe that, having said that the players will understand what the opposition's threats will be. They'll also understand where maybe we feel that we can hurt them. But let's focus on us. Let's make sure that the players understand just how good we know and feel they are, and then hopefully that transmits through to them, and they understand the confidence that as a group of staff, and more importantly as a football club, we have in them. And then it's pretty much, they've got the easy part, they've got the enjoyable part, where they get out to go and play on the pitch in front of our fans, and on a wonderful pitch. I must say that the groundsman has done a phenomenal job. That was one of the first things that the Doncaster manager said to me after the game. You've got a real opportunity to play football here because the pitch is so good. I said, yeah, we're very lucky. The training ground is very similar. So basically what it does is it removes any excuses from the players. But no, very much looking forward to the game. It'll be a tough game, as will every game in this league. We've got no given right to turn up and get 3 points. We're going to have to earn everything that we want this season.
So that was head coach Matt Taylor there, talking about today's opponents, Forest Green Rovers. Up next, we've got Connor Wilkinson, and here is what he had to say about today's game. You move into the game against Forest Green this week, and it's the first competitive home fixture in the league for, pretty much 16, 17 months. What are you expecting from Forest Green?
They're going to come at us. They're a good team. Obviously, we're not going to lay down and go under. We're going to go out there and attack just like we should every single week. And I feel like I say, they are a good team. They're not going to come here and get rolled over. We're going to stick together, try and break them down. Obviously, we'll work on them and play in the positions and the pockets that we need to play into, and then hopefully we can pick them off and exploit them.
And we're into the second of 3 home games. How important is it to have that backing of the home fans again? They're going to be such an important cog in this machine this year, aren't they?
Well, yeah, like I say, Saturday at Tranmere there was heard, definitely. There was heard more than the Tranmere fans at sometimes. Tuesday night, obviously, they helped us again. Like I say, it's a big factor when you're playing at home and you've got the home fans behind you, because they can rubber you up and get you going a bit more than you need to. So hopefully again Saturday it's the same sort of thing, and then we can, like I say, build on and get that win.
Last season, when you guys weren't in here, the Saddlers ran out 2-1 winners against Forest Green Rovers. Rory Holden and former captain James Clark scored on that day, and here are our alternate angles for the goals.
Into the path of Rory Holden! He slots it home on his first start since mid-December.
So we've just seen the alternate angle goals from the 2-1 win against Forest Green here last season, and now I am joined by my colleague Paul. Paul, thanks for joining me. I think first of all we'll start off with the heartbreak penalty defeat here on Tuesday night. What was it like for you sat in that press box, and what were your overall thoughts on that game?
It was really tense being on co-commentary for the listeners on WM, and I follow listeners' audio as well. Just that penalty shootout, it felt like the Saddlers were going to do it, and then it just wasn't to be on the night. Penalties is a lottery, isn't it? I think Matt Taylor said it himself. It can go either way. It's what happens on the day, doesn't it? Sometimes they go in, sometimes they don't. It's just one of them things. I think all the lads who stepped up and took one deserve credit. It's a brave thing to do. I thought Carl Rushworth was absolutely outstanding. It was a phenomenal save just in this goal here. Right at the end in the second half, as Doncaster applied a bit of late pressure, but it was the Saddlers who were really asking all the questions for the majority of the game, and Carl Rushworth didn't have an awful lot to do until then, and his concentration was excellent, so credit to him for the saves in game and the penalties. But as you say, Tom, it was heartbreak, but there were so many signs of encouragement that Matt Taylor and his team can take in today, so really looking forward to today's game.
It was that, because there was a lot of confidence to be taken from that game, against a League One side. Arguably the Saddlers over the 90 minutes were the better team on the day.
I think they were. I think they asked a lot of questions. They were creative. They were trying different things. You saw some nice flicks from Connor Wilkinson, some nice touches. Tyrese Shade looked dangerous once again. So there was plenty of positive. There was plenty of intent from the Saddlers, and they more than matched their League One opponents. So I think that'll give all the boys a boost. And it's another tough test today against Forest Green. Last week we played Tranmere Rovers, who qualified for the playoffs. Forest Green qualified for the playoffs last season. I think they've qualified in 2 of the last 3 seasons. So it's going to be a difficult game. They're going to be a footballing side as well. So again, I think it's got all the ingredients to be another really interesting game.
And it's another young coach similar to Matt Taylor coming in. He's going to have his own ideas, different to what the previous Forest Green Rovers manager. So for us, they could be a little bit of an unknown quantity, despite them being right up there in the last couple of seasons.
That's it. It's interesting with Forest Green because they had 5 years of the same manager, so there was a bit of stability at the club, whereas they've had a new manager come in, a couple of new signings come in who you may not have heard of as well, but they've still got a nucleus of a good team that was there last year. The likes of Ibu Adams, Jamil Matt scored 17 goals for them last season. He was the man to replace Christian Doidge effectively, because they really kind of struggled with that a little bit. I think in the first season after Christian Doidge left, their all-time leading scorer, but now Jamil Matt's come in, scored a lot of goals, so there's some threats in that team. But like you say, Rob Edwards, new manager, not too many people know an awful lot about him, although former Wolverhampton Wanderers I believe as well. So as you say, there could be a bit of an unknown quantity, but it's what happens on the day, isn't it?
It's exactly that, and the Saddlers have got a really good record against Forest Green, and they'll really be looking to replicate that again today, even though it is, like you say, going to be a really tough fixture.
That's it. It's 5 meetings between the two sides, and it's, I think, 3 wins for the Saddlers and 2 draws, so they're a happy opponent so far anyway for Walsall. But I think that all that goes out the window. It's a new season, both teams have new head coaches, the Saddlers have pretty much a new squad from those previous meetings, so it's a clean slate almost, effectively, isn't it? But it's one we're looking forward to. I think Walsall Forest Green will be a very good fixture, and I think a lot of neutrals may be keeping an eye on this one to see what happens.
And on a final note, It's the first competitive home league fixture since March 2020. We saw a crowd of just over 2,000 Saddlers fans in here on Tuesday night against Doncaster. It's just going to be great again to have, you know, a big crowd here at home.
Oh, it's going to be fantastic. You know, we've been waiting for this day since we played Exeter in March 2020, as you say. It's going to be fantastic just to see a big crowd here. The home serve, I hope it's going to be absolutely bouncing. I mean, only the lower tier was open on Tuesday and the atmosphere was fantastic. So with the middle and upper as well, it's going to be absolutely bouncing. It's just going to be incredible. I can't wait to see all the fans there singing the songs and getting behind the boys, because the boys do need the fans.
Thank you very much for joining me, Paul, and you know, hopefully you enjoy the day as much as we're going to enjoy it from a club perspective. And as always, come on you Saddlers.